Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Talia Ali, your favorite modern woman, and welcome to my Modern Woman series. Today we're going to be discussing red flags and qualities to watch out for when looking for a husband. So many times people like to tell women that the reason why they are in the position that they're in is because they chose wrong. Now I can say that I disagree with that. A lot of the time women are choosing wrong. So what I did is I went to this Facebook group that is, it's a group where I feel like men often put women down. I'm not gonna lie. I joined that group just to broaden my perspective of this topic because if I'm being honest, I don't run across a lot of men in my personal life who have negative thoughts about women in general. But I still know that it exists, and I still want to help women navigate throughout a world where she is being blamed for pretty much everything. Now, I in no way or shape or form think women are perfect, and I know that women are doing a lot of things to put themselves in a bad position and blaming everyone but themselves. So I'm more of a solution-oriented person, and instead of doing the back and forth finger pointing and boys versus girls nonsense, I want to get down to the solution. So I asked the men in this group, I'm going to read the post, men only. Instead of constantly bringing up that women choose wrong, help the ladies choose right. Name 3 red flags women should avoid and 3 qualities they should look for in a husband. So when I made this post, not gonna lie, I didn't really expect to get good answers. And the reason for this is because a lot of these men who are going around telling women that they're choosing wrong are usually also a wrong man, right? So I really expected most of them to be really vague and to avoid actually telling women who to choose. And I did get several comments of men like that, but to my surprise, and I'll give credit where it's due, there are a lot of great men in these comments trying to help the ladies out. So we're gonna go through these comments. So we're going to start with some red flags. So this one man said, red flags, multiple baby moms, still lives at home with parents, doesn't have a steady 9-to-5, lacks self-discipline, isn't great with finances, not goal-orientated, undecisive, poor hygiene. And I agree. That was a very good comment. I let him know that was some good stuff. Let's go to the next comment with red flags. Red flags. How often is he the victim? So I'm assuming he's saying if a man is always playing victim and everyone else is the problem except for him, he's more than likely a red flag. It says work history. He didn't really name it. The way he worded it is a little vague, but I understand what he's saying. So I guess if the guy has little to no work history, especially if he's a grown man, that's a red flag. And sex being his strongest conversation, which I totally agree. A lot of men who don't really have much to offer but sex, that's going to be their selling point. And that's just logic. Anything that you know you have to offer, you're going to push that the most. That's why a lot of high earning men are going to flash money, and they're going to let it be known that they're high earning because they know that that's what women value and that's the main thing they have to offer. So we're going to get into some of the comments that I expected, even though I'll admit that that wasn't the majority of the comments. Someone said, the problem with this question is, as men, we can name 50 red flags and 150 green flags. Most women will ignore it. Women love bad boys and hate squares. Not all, but unfortunately a high percentage, because the bad boys make them tingle. But here it goes. So before I get into what he said, that's mostly what I expected. A lot of the times men are very hesitant to tell women what they want, even though they claim that women don't give them what they want. And the first sign of being a leader is to be direct. You can't beat around the bush and be vague if you want someone to follow you, right? When you go to a job and you apply for the job, they're not going to be vague about what they expect from you. They're going to be direct. They're going to keep it short and simple, and you're there at the interview for them to tell you what they expect from you, and you're supposed to try to prove to them that you are capable and competent of doing something. But he still tried to offer something. I can't really remember, so we're going to read it again right now. Things to look for that can be both good and bad signs. 1, how he treats his mother and other significant females in his life. I would say that I kind of agree with that, but then on the flip side, my lash is just doing some weird stuff right now. I just can't. I'm not even know how to edit this out. On the flip side, I would say that I do see men who love and adore their moms and still don't respect women. So that's not always a significant factor for a man. But I will say, if he treats mom or the woman in his life horribly, then you definitely do want to stay away. So I do partially agree with that. Hygiene and grooming. If he can't even take care of himself, what do you think he's going to do with you? But then again, he better not spend more time in the mirror than you getting ready either. And I do agree with that as well. It might sound bad to some people, but no one wants a stank man or a man who looks unkempt. But at the same time, you don't want a highly feminine or vain man who takes longer than you in the mirror, like he said. 3, his friends, if they aren't ish, why is he with them? If they are about their business and progressing, is it rubbing off? And I totally agree with that one too. So if you are dating someone, and we've all been there, we're dating someone and you get to the point where you meet their friends or even their families, whoever they just spend most of their free time with, if you see that these men are running around on women, not taking care of their children, just doing everything wrong, not really being productive, just sitting on your behinds, maybe living off of women. As they say, birds of a feather do flock together. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone who hangs out are literally replicas of each other, but everyone that you hang out with, you have something in common with, right? So a lot of people like to say, like, if one friend is promiscuous, the other one is as well, and that can be what you guys have in common. But at the same time, I can have a friend who loves luxury bags like I do, but I don't really run around as much as she does. You get what I'm saying? But if your friend has multiple things that is negative and you're always hanging out with them, 9 times out of 10, those negative things are going to push you away more than the one common denominator that you guys have, if that makes any sense. So I said all that to say that I do agree with that. But I did make it a point in these comments to say that I do agree with you. You can tell a lot of women what to look out for and what to avoid, and they're probably still going to go out there and pick the same men. But what I told him is, even if 1 out of 10 women agree to what you're saying, at the end of the day, we're still helping that 10% of women, and that's better than the whole 100% of women being lost and misguided. I want to get to a comment, a condescending comment that I thought was going to be the majority, which I'm glad wasn't. Oh, well, this is not the one I'm looking for, but this was another one that I kind of expected. The guy said, this whole question wrong. First of all, he's not even speaking right. This whole question wrong. Women set a standard for what you want in a man and stand on that. And take time to make sure he's up to your standard. Don't jump into ish just because he looks or sounds the part. Take the time to make sure he's what you want. The biggest issue today is people jump into stuff before fully knowing what they're getting into. A snake can only hide his scales for so long. Be patient and God will show you a man's true intentions. Now, While I don't disagree with that comment, I clearly asked for direct answers, and he didn't really offer any of those things, right? Because he's saying the whole question is wrong. I am saying that they have the red flags to stay away from them, right? But everyone has at least one red flag, and it's up to us to determine how many we're going to collect. But however, I didn't say just because they have the qualities that you're looking for that you need to jump into anything with anyone. It's just saying that these are the type of men that you should just be interested in. That's the first step right there. I didn't say go on a date with them. I didn't say go marry them or put all your eggs in one basket. I'm just saying that because people are telling women that they're choosing wrong, let's teach them how to choose right. It has nothing to do with how much time you spend with them or any of that crap. You don't have to, if you see all of these terrible red flags in a man, you shouldn't have to spend any more time with them from then on. And how will you know to set your standards if you don't know what to be looking for or what to avoid? But that was one comment. A girl said they lie so much and switch up, I'll never trust a man or anything another one says. So that's unfortunate. I don't think I even really responded to that one. A man said she sets the standards and it's up to him to meet those standards. If he says something that she requires and I don't want to meet it, I don't have to meet it, but it is up to her to set the standard. So I think a lot of people merged the qualities in a man to what a man has to offer. And to me, those are two totally separate things, right? You can have plenty to offer and you can have bad qualities, or you can have plenty to offer and not be willing to offer it, right? So a quality of yours, for example, that would be good for a husband would be being generous, right? Just because you have all of this stuff does not mean you're generous. So if you're high earning or if you have a lot of resources and you're not willing to share those with the woman that you want to be with, you're not generous, and that's not going to change anything. So you're getting the same result or outcome that you would be getting with someone who isn't high earning. Now, you can be an average earning man and be very generous. So, or you can be, of course, a high earning man and be generous, right? So if you compare like an average earning man and a generous, if you compare like an average earning generous man and a high earning generous man, then of course you would benefit more from being with a man who is generous and also has a lot to offer compared to a man who is generous and is average earning. But if you compare a high earning stingy man to an average earning generous man, then you will benefit way more from being with the average earner generous man, if that makes any sense. Let's go through more of these questions. Here goes a question that I expected. From her experiences, shouldn't she have known the red flags by now, but chooses not to learn from her mistakes? Here we go again. A lot of the time, these men are saying that they are leaders, they are providers, and the man is supposed to lead the women in his community, not just the women that he has. You're supposed to be a leader for all, right? But a lot of us nowadays are very selfish and we feel like we owe our community nothing. So here we are asking you to be a leader and you're basically rejecting it and coming off condescending. So I told him, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You have anything to add to the list, or are you unwilling to help? He said, I'm unwilling because it will fall on deaf ears. They tend to not get the memo until they're hurt. So I could have wrote my heart out and it still wouldn't matter, man. Sir, no one's asking for your heart, okay? We're asking for 3 general things. And usually men like this are the red flags. And they don't want to make it be known that they're the red flags because then they disqualify themselves from you. Next. Okay, so one said unemployed, minimum wage, and no 401k. drug dealer or user been to prison? No goals or clear vision of his future. So I agreed with those. Here goes a guy. Also, ladies, quit telling a man what a real man is. You have never been one, because how would you know what it's like? And it's very ironic because men who tend to say things like this will sit up here all day and tell us what a real woman is, but you have never been a real woman. And nowhere in this, obviously, I said men only for a reason, so that doesn't even make sense. But I went along with it and I said a lot of women assume because y'all never want to tell us, but will criticize us for not knowing. I think another good quality is a fair man. A man who's fair will not put you in the position to where no matter what you try, even if they're opposite from each other, it's not gonna work, okay? If he really cares about you, he's not gonna make it difficult for you to cooperate with him. If you're asking someone what they want, and I know a lot of women do this when it comes to food, right? So think of it like that. You're asking a woman, I'm gonna take you out to eat, what do you want? And she just can't think of anything. That's a very low scale analogy to what it's like when women are asking you, okay, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And you're just like, no, y'all don't give us what we want. Y'all don't give us what we want. So that was my main point of this post. Someone said there is none. We are chameleons. We will adjust accordingly on how we feel about women. Now, you know that's a red flag. So I told him, I see some truth to this, but certain qualities you can't turn on and off. So the reason why I said I see some truth to this is because oftentimes you'll see a man and he'll be with one woman and the relationship goes totally wrong, and then he might get with the next woman, and from the outside looking in, he does everything that the other woman wanted or what most women want, but it's the same man. And a lot of the times, especially the first woman, can't wrap her head around that, right? So in scenarios like that, I would probably assume that either the man has matured, meaning that he has qualities that he may not have had before, or maybe he has relationship skills that he didn't have in the beginning with the other woman, or I would say that the first woman was the problem, and that happens a lot. But the reason why I don't totally agree with it is because there's certain qualities that you just can't turn on and off. If you are, like some of these things said, if you already don't like to work, it doesn't matter what woman you get with, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have a problem unless that woman is willing to take care of you. But at the end of the day, if you claim to want to be a leader and provider, then that shouldn't be the type of situation you want anyway, unless you're just using her for that purpose. So we're going to talk about some of the qualities to look for, because I think I just did red flags just now. So qualities: a man with a steady job, a man who is goal-oriented, a man with a level head, a man looking to start a family, a man who can keep his head under pressure, a man who cares about his appearance and name and doesn't want either tarnish, a man looking to provide and protect, a man who can control his emotions. I totally agree with these, and I learned a lot in these comments. It was just kind of like a reminder, right? So the one that stuck out to me the most in this comment was a man who cares about his appearance and name and doesn't want either of them tarnished. A lot of men who worry about their reputation obviously have something to lose, right? They know that if they conduct themselves in certain ways, they won't be able to accomplish as much as they would if they had the discipline that they needed. So most men who care about their reputation, they have sexual discipline, they have physical discipline, and they can control their emotions because they do not want to be known as any of those negative things. And those men are usually men who are dedicated to their goals and where they want to be in life, and they are not going to let anything so stupid get in the way of that. So that is a very, 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 probably the first quality that you should be looking for. And it's not just higher value or earning men who have that quality. You can get an average man who just has pride about himself and just doesn't want people looking at him crazy, doesn't want to make his family look crazy, and takes pride in being a respectful man. That's a very good quality. Let's go to some more qualities. Ability to make a plan, not just have a goal. Accountability. Tell him that you want to do something and see if he holds you to it, and vice versa. Can he compromise, not just do what you say? This was another banger. Let's get into this more. Ability to make a plan and not just have a goal, right? So if you ask men their goals, whether they're lying or not, they'll have all these goals, but to get to a goal, there's a road in between that you have to take. You can't just say you have a goal and then move any type of way, right? That's another thing. A lot of guys who are really goal orientated, they have discipline. So if you have a goal and you have no way or path to get there, how are you going to lead your family to the type of lifestyle and success that you want if you don't know how to get there, right? So that is very important, because a lot of guys will tell you all these goals to impress you when in fact they're not doing anything to get there. Accountability. Tell him that you want to do something and see if he holds you to it, and vice versa, right? So the word accountability has been buzzing a lot lately, and it's usually attached to women. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't know why it's not attached to women, because, you know, as women, I admit that we do have a problem apologizing, especially for small things, right? But in my opinion, I don't really see a lot of men take accountability either. So is it a woman problem or is it just a human problem? But I do feel like having accountability is definitely a great trait for a man or woman to have. And then the last one was, can he compromise, not just do what you say? That one is so important, because you can get a yes man, beta male all you want. He does everything you say, but he's not leading you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell him to do anything and he'll do it, and then he has no backbone. No woman really wants that. So he said, but compromising is something totally different. Compromising is where you want to go one way, he wants to go the other way, and you guys try to meet in the middle. A man who can compromise is a very good quality to have, because even though he's the leader, you are a second in command. He must be willing to work with you and value your opinion enough to come to a middle ground. We're gonna do like 2 more comments that have qualities in them. Let's see. Husband qualities: independent, God-fearing, communication. So let's get into independent. A man who has always taken care of himself, and if he has kids, his kids or his family or whoever. I would not want to date a man who has never been out on their own. As being a grown woman who has been out on my own since I was 18, 19 years old, and I'm now 27, I don't think it would work if I was with a man who has been sheltered or taken care of, whether it's by his parents or other women, because I know that he's going to go from their care to mine. And as a man, if you don't want to be that main provider where you're providing by yourself, which is nothing wrong with that, you need to look at the woman you're dating too and see her experience with taking care of herself. So I would say the same thing for a man. I don't want to date a man who has went from his mom's house to this female's house to this female's house, because all that means is he's coming to buy next. I want to date someone who's independent like me, who takes care of himself, so we can get together and multiply that independence and success. God-fearing. So I know a lot of people aren't religious, but a lot of people are. But just take this as a general way to say he has a conscience, right? Men who, if you're God-fearing, you have a conscience. Your conscience is based on God and religion and, disappointing your group, your religious group. And even if you're not religious, it's basically a fear of doing wrong, right? If you have a conscience, you know that even when you do something wrong, it's going to do more harm to you anyway, and you're going to have to live with it for the rest of your life. There are people out here, men and women, who really just don't have a conscience. So you have to look at that with the way people move. You can tell if someone has a conscience by what they do to other people. So if they can do something wrong to someone else and literally sleep well at night, then that's not the type of person you want to be with, because eventually it's going to be you that they're doing that to. We're going to get into one more comment with quality. Men that are stable mentally and financially. Men that have more to offer than the eye can see. A man that's secure doesn't have to prove himself to no one. This is another, I'm just so happy that I did get these great answers from these men, because like I said, I didn't expect it, because I see a lot of women bashing in this group. But a lot of the times, the men who don't necessarily like women as much as they say and have so much negative things to say about us are the loudest. So you have to remember, there's still good men out there who don't want to put women down. They're just not being vocal about it because it's normal to them. Let's get into these and then we'll wrap this up. So men that are stable mentally and financially, that's a big one. A lot of people think when you say financially stable, you're talking about someone who is well off. No. Financially stable means that you can afford to take care of yourself and your responsibilities. You're a single man with no kids. You can afford a roof, even if you have a roommate. Whatever. Wherever you stand, you paying. You can pay for your own car. You can pay to feed yourself. Whatever you want to do as a grown man, you can afford to do so. And even if you don't have a lot of money left over, you're taking care of your responsibilities. If you have a child, whether you're with that woman or not, you're taking care of your half. So anybody who acts like being financially stable is too much to ask for is definitely a red flag. Mentally stable, which is a big one. So obviously, and this is for the people, the women who have these qualities, right? These are the qualities that you should be looking for. Because obviously, if you're not financially stable and you're not mentally stable, then even if you are looking out for these things, you might not get that. Even if you do get that, then gotta pick up my son. Even if you do get that, you might take away from that man, and that's not completely fair. But we're definitely going to do one of these, we're definitely going to do one of these videos for the men. I don't really see a lot of men watching my videos, but it might be helpful to the women too, to make sure that they aren't red flags and they actually have qualities to be a good partner, whether it's for marriage, be their girlfriend, whatever. And we're going to get into the last one that he said. Men that have more to offer than the eye can see. So a lot of people in these comments posted flashing money or using money to attract women as a red flag. So obviously money is something that you can see. You can see that, I mean, you can't always see if someone has money. You can see if someone spends money. And that's why it must be more than the eye can see, right? Because you can see a guy, he has on the newest Balenciaga sneakers, he's driving a Benz that may or may not be rented, or he's probably spending his last on that car note. It's not even insured. He might have on some Amiri jeans. He might have on all this stuff that you're adding up in your head, thinking, oh my God, he must have money to be able to buy all these things. But at the end of the day, he's staying with someone, he's spending his last on the little bit of bills he has, and he doesn't have anything else to offer than what you added up in your head. And all of those things are for him. not for you. Because just because he's wearing some Balenciaga don't mean when your birthday rolls around, he's gonna be buying you some. So that's a big one. And like I said, I'm really impressed with these answers in this group. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you're enjoying my little Modern Women series. Stay tuned. And if you guys have anything else that you want me to talk about or teach about, let me know. Please email me at themodernwomenpodcast@gmail.com. I will put that email in the description box. And I want to start doing reaction videos, but I need you guys to send me in content that you would like to hear my take on. I hope you ladies have a beautiful day, and until next time, deuces.